Today we're going to talk about renewable energy. The presentation is made by Dauletgali Karim, Nurlan Muratbek, and Alikhan Rakhymberdiyev. Uh, I'm Nurlan, and I'm going to talk about today what is renewable energy, what are the benefits and drawbacks of it. Solar energy and its application in Kazakhstan will be discussed by Dauletgali, and the wind energy and its application in Kazakhstan will be delivered by Alikhan. By the end of the presentation, we're going to talk about why Kazakhstan is not implementing renewable energy and what we can do about it. So let's start. The first is, what is renewable energy? Renewable energy is generated from natural sources. That is to say, they never run out. You might already know the examples of it. For example, solar energy from the sun, wind, and the biomass and the hydro energy. Today, as you may have noticed from the chart, people use mostly petroleum and natural gas. Also, the third is coal with 15%, and the 9% of energy is from nuclear energy. And the only 10% of the energy consumed by humans is actually renewable energy. As you may have noticed, the most of the energy that people use today is not renewable. That is to say, at some point of the time in the future, it will end and people will have no alternative. That's why we need renewable sources of energy. So there are some benefits of renewable energy. The first one is there is no air pollution. Unlike the other sources of energy like petroleum, it doesn't emit carbon dioxide, which pollutes our air. And the solar energy, wind energy, and the hydro energy, and other types of renewable energy do not pollute water, air, and other parts of our nature. Also, they never run out. For example, the sun will be at least for a billion years, and water also you can use water at a cyclical level, and that is to say you can use the same water uh, over and over again and still have your energy. Also, it's a reliable source of energy. That is to say, it's for very long term, so it won't end. However, there are also some drawbacks of renewable energy. It generates power on the smaller scale. For example, you cannot use solar energy for sending rocket into the space. You still need some petroleum to give that drive to overcome the gravitational force. The second is intermittency. That is to say, it's for example for solar energy you need always a sun. If it's cloudy, you may not employ this kind of energy. So it's not it can be not stable as well. Also, there are problems with storage capabilities. The same solar energy is its main problem with batteries, and you need battery technology of solar energy is underdeveloped, and we don't know yet how to sustain that energy for the long terms. You have to use that energy at the point when you produce that energy, so it's very difficult to keep it. Third is geographic limitations. For example, you cannot use solar energy for example, in Arctica and where there is not sunny days in ours.
Geographic limitations have great influence for solar energy application in Kazakhstan. Take, for example, California, where 10% of all energy is produced by solar energy, and there are 205 sunny days in a year in California. But in Kazakhstan's case, according to meteoblue.com, in the southern parts, more specifically in Almaty 130, in Shymkent 180, in Kızılorda 164, and in Taraz 174 sunny days in a year. In the northern parts, Astana 70 days, Semey 91 days, Kokshetau 60 days, and Karaganda 60 7 sunny days in a year. If we add up the high cost of solar panels, it will be very difficult for Kazakhstan to implement solar energy.
Now let's talk about wind energy of Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is endowed with exceptional wind resources, which are sufficient for the introduction of industrial-scale wind farms. Particularly, strong winds are observed around Caspian Sea, in the steppes and mountain gaps and passes. Maximum wind speeds on the most of the territory during winter months are 40 meters per second and 35 meters per second in spring and autumn. Average wind speeds throughout Kazakhstan at 80 meters above the ground level is around 6 to 7 meters per second. Estimated wind potential of Kazakhstan is about 1,820 billion kilowatts per hour per year. The most promising individual sites are in the Almaty region in the Jungarian Gates, 600 kilometers northeast of Almaty, close to the Xinjiang border. The high speeds for the most locations of our country occur during the winter months of December, January, and February. Additionally, some high speeds values are observed during May. On the other hand, wind speeds of the summer season, June, July, and August, are the lowest. Coincidentally, the electricity peak demand in Kazakhstan is observed during winter season, which makes introduction of wind energy important. Wind power has the potential to produce 25 times more energy in a year than Kazakhstan's current production from hydrocarbons. Currently, the Ministry of Industry and New Technologies selected 10 sites to build large wind power plants with a total capacity of 1,000 megawatts with a view to commercial production of electricity in the amount of 3 billion kilowatts. Currently, only one wind energy plant is operating in Kazakhstan. The Kordai wind power plant with 1,500 capacity was launched in December in Jambul region. One of Kazakhstan's power companies, Samruk Energy, was recently awarded a 94 million loan from the Eurasian Development Bank to build Kazakhstan's largest wind farm. The project will produce 172 million kilowatt per hours of electrical energy per year, save more than 60 million tons of coal and reduce emissions of greenhouse gases. The first wind generator production plant in the post-Soviet region is said to be constructed in Kazakhstan's Aktobe. This project with a cost of 84 million euros is expected to create 500 jobs. So, why Kazakhstan is not fully implementing renewable energy? Well, first of all, oil, gases, coal, and uranium reserves of Kazakhstan are among the largest in the world. The abundance of these reserves led the country to primarily rely on fossil fuel-based energy production. Due to this factor, little attention was paid to enormous renewable energy of our country. In particular, one of the most promising sources of renewable energy in Kazakhstan is the wind power. The second problem is a higher upfront cost. While you can save money by using renewable energy, the technologies are typically more expensive upfront than traditional energy generators. To combat this, there are often financial incentives, such as tax credit rebates available to help alleviate your initial cost of renewable technology. Another serious problem is lack of qualified specialists in energy technology. So we can say that it is hard to operate the renewable energy plants without proper investment in our education of our workforce.